Hey, what's up, you guys? WWE Fan 0599 here again, and today we're going to review Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates. So, Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates stars Zac Efron, Adam Devine, Aubrey Plaza, and Anna Kendrick. And what this film is basically about, it's about these two guys named Mike and Dave, and they basically need wedding dates. And so they put this ad on Craigslist to get wedding dates, and these two girls see it as an advantage to get a free trip to Hawaii, and they need nice girls, and particularly these girls are not the nicest of people, so they need to nicen it up for these two people, and let's just say craziness ensues. So, what did I think of Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates? Now, I wasn't particularly looking forward to this movie. It looked really terrible from all the trailers I saw, from all the TV spots, and I was just not looking forward to Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates, like, at all. Like, seriously, I was not looking forward to this movie in the slightest. And, yeah, it was kind of what I expected. This movie is really bad. This movie is bad. Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates is a terrible movie. It's a terrible comedy. In all the wrong ways. It is so bad, this movie. I hated Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates. This is such a bad movie. Now let's get into my positives, because I surprisingly actually do have positives with Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates. And my positives are, first being, I actually enjoyed both Zac Efron and Adam Devine for the most part. But Zac Efron I thought was actually really enjoyable for the majority of the movie. I actually really enjoyed his character. And, you know, I want to say he was kind of like the most sort of likable character in the movie. You know, and I thought he was really enjoyable for the most part. You know, I did think he did a pretty good job of the films. Adam Devine, I thought was actually enjoyable for the most part. And he was actually really enjoyable. I actually really enjoyed him for the most part in this movie. And lastly, I thought, I thought there were some funny moments in the movie. I'm not gonna lie, there were some moments in the film where I did actually laugh, which that surprised me as well. I actually did think the movie was funny at some points, like not like throughout the entire film or anything, but there were some points where I did think, okay, that wasn't too bad. That was actually pretty funny. So yeah. Okay, now the negatives with the movie, because I do have a lot of negatives with this film. First being the acting is atrocious in this movie. Oh my goodness, everybody else in this film is really bad. Now, I mentioned that, I said I enjoyed Adam Devine for the most part, and yeah, I'll say this, once we get to a certain point of the film, yeah, he started becoming really bad and really over the top, and I was not enjoying him as much. He seriously was. Like, he just turned into a full-on cartoon at one point in this movie. Like, his character, like, takes a 180. Like, seriously, his performance takes a 180 in this movie. Like, I enjoyed his character for the most part and his performance, but then once we find out about a certain thing, he just, like, goes to a 180, and I didn't enjoy him as much. But the thing I hated the most about this movie was Aubrey Plaza and Anna Kendrick. Whenever these two were on screen, like, whenever these two were talking or doing whatever, I couldn't stand them. I hated these characters. Seriously, they were terrible in this movie. I hated them in this film. And what makes this even worse, I'm not going to really try and spoil anything, but I'll say this. Just, these two do the worst of things, and Mike and Dave get blamed for it. Wait, what? Like, it's so stupid how they executed in this movie. It just made me hate these characters even more. They're by far the worst thing about this movie. I hated these characters. Seriously, I wanted them to get off the screen. Get off the screen, sorry. But yeah, everyone else is atrocious as well. The woman that plays the little sister, she's terrible. The guy who plays Eric is awful. Just everyone is awful in this movie. The comedy, holy moly, the comedy does not work for the most part in this movie. Man, the comedy just falls flat on its face for the majority of this movie. Seriously, I was just bored, really, because it wasn't making me laugh. The comedy works like almost, the comedy works for about, I don't know, like 5% of the movie. Seriously. The rest of the 90% is really, 95%, sorry, is really bad. Seriously. the rest of the comedy in this movie really does not work. Seriously, the comedy is awful with this film. Like I said, the logic behind some of these reasons why, Mike and Dave get blamed for some of these things in this movie is really stupid. Like, really. I'm like watching this, I'm like, how are these guys getting blamed for this stuff? For some of the stuff that happens in this movie. I'm just like, what? It's so stupid and so, oh my goodness. Like, my head was hurting of how stupid it was. Seriously. Oh my goodness. Anna Kendrick and Aubrey Plaza's chemistry is awful. I hated their chemistry in this movie. Seriously. The writing's atrocious with this film. I hated the writing with this movie. It's written so badly. The directing is awful with this movie as well. I hated the directing. It's directed so badly. And lastly, this movie is so boring. What is the main objective of a comedy? It's supposed to make you laugh. If it's not making you laugh, then it's failing completely. I was just sitting there with a bored expression on my face throughout the majority of this movie because of how boring it was. Seriously, the movie's only an hour and 38 minutes and it feels like a 3-hour movie. Seriously, the pacing is terrible with this movie. Guys, Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates is a terrible movie. Besides Zac Efron and Adam Devine for the most part being enjoyable and having some funny moments, this movie is really bad. Like, really, this movie is terrible. I did not enjoy Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates. Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates. The official grade on Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates is a D. Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates is just a terrible, terrible movie. Seriously, this is one of the worst films of the year. This is an awful, awful movie. I could not stand Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates. It gets a D. So, what did you think of Mike and Dave? That's such a tongue twister. What did you think of Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates? Leave in the comment section below. I'm WWE Fan 0599 and we'll see you all later. Peace.